draft talk with you. Also, wanted to do a Q&A with the different trade opportunities you may be looking at in redraft and dynasty. So hit me with some trade offers. Hit me with your NFL draft talk. Hit me with whatever you got, and we'll break it down right now. Man, a lot of draft news, a lot of stuff kicking off. News wires today. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of rumors about what the heck's going to happen with that 1.3 pick to 1.4 pick. Will Atlanta trade down? Will Denver trade up? Anybody wants to talk anything about that, let me know. But I'm going to do a lot of Q&A tonight. So anybody has any questions, hit me in the chat here, and I will get to what I can. I'll try to answer every question I can. Sometimes if I go on a rant, I might not get to every question. So definitely ask away, and we'll see what we get done. Najee Harris, ETN, hit me with it. What's up, Big Gene? How long time no see, man. Where have you been? Where have you been, bro? Where have you been? What do you guys think of I had a doctor on my show today on the Fantasy Football Show Live, which is live every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, by the way. What do you guys think of Chubb and Henry heading into 2021? We talked a little bit about Chubb's previous college knee injury. We talked a lot about Henry's 2,000-yard season mixed in with his over usage and mileage. I'm curious to know who is really worried about him or who is all in on Chubb and Henry in 2021. And how many years do you give each in Dynasty? Are you taking it year by year, or do you feel like these guys have a whole lot left in the tank? Everybody feels a little differently about it. There's no right or wrong. We're all guesstimating and predicting things. So right now, no one's right. So trust your gut. Use me as a guide. I don't recommend anybody just go off what I'm saying. What's up, expert? All is well, Tommy. Appreciate you. So we'll wait for YouTube to send out the alerts. Yesterday, it took a little while for people to get alerts. I don't know what's going on with YouTube lately when I go live, but they occasionally throttle the notifications. So yesterday was weird. We had 10 people for a while, and then it went to 50 or 30 on and off. So we'll see if it looks like the numbers are growing a little bit. Hit the thumbs up on your way in. What's up, Double A? Been with family, had kids 8 months ago, or had a kid 8 months ago, and a new life in Germany has taken over. I love Chubb and Hunt. I got Hunt as my running back too in a lot of leagues still. I like Hunt more than I like Chubb. I don't like investing in Chubb at 8, 9, 10 overall when you can get Kareem Hunt, who outscored him in most scoring formats last year. You can get Hunt in round 5. So, and I don't like owning both of them at the same time. Didn't seem to work out very well last year. You always end up getting, left hanging some weeks, and you don't win overall. You might have a really good week or two here, but then you'll have a lot of, missteps and weeks where you just bomb out. So I don't recommend owning both Hunt and Chubb. They're not a handcuff type situation because you're spending near 4th to probably 5th. Hopefully, don't spend more than 5th round value on Hunt because you don't have to. But that's not a handcuff. So you're buying an independent player that scores his own points. But Chubb, I worry about at 8, 9, 10 because they're just safer players. I'm trying to get Chubb for David Montgomery, and another piece. I don't mind that. I think Monty has as much risk as Chubb has for 1 year. I don't love either of them long term. I think that Monty's got his risk with Nagy calling plays in 2021, which is horrible news. He kind of had a perfect storm of goodness for 2020, cranking out top 4 running back numbers in most scoring formats, which is kind of surprising to people when they realize that Monty was number 4. So at 4th or whatever, 4.5 round value, I like Monty in 2021 at that value. I still worry a little bit about Nagy, but we'll see. We'll see. Do you think the Patriots are going to draft Fields? The Patriots would have to trade up to number 4, or they may not even get Fields at 4 because the Niners may take him at 3. So do I think the Patriots get Fields? 99% no. I don't think they'll be in a position to get Fields. Let me rephrase that. If Lance goes number 3, which is what I hope to happen, and I kind of have a feeling is going to happen. I suppose Fields would. You could see the New England Patriots trade up to number 4. Atlanta is vulnerable, so I take that back. If New England wanted to trade up to 4, they could get him there. I don't think they get him at 15. They could get Mac Jones at 15, in theory, but I probably think that won't happen either. I think Denver, takes Mac Jones, or a trade up happens. No one lets Mac fall to 15. In my opinion, anything can happen. But I think Fields, there's only like one path for Fields to land on the Niners, and I don't think the Niners are trading up to 4. I could be wrong. It could happen. They've also put a lot in. They're kind of going all in on Cam and what fits the needs of Cam with two double tight ends. Not that you can't run a double tight end system with Fields or whoever, but it feels very, very catered to Cam Newton's play and his arm and what's left in the tank. Keep hearing the Steelers will go with Najee Harris. Seems like they really need O-line help. Good news is they can get O-line in the second round. They can trade up for O-line. I still think Najee Harris is probably the answer. I'm a big advocate, even though I'm a fantasy guy. I realize I've got some imperfections in my analysis when it comes to fantasy football impact players and where they should go. But I think I do analyze it from a very objective point of view. And just because I think that Jamar Chase should go to Cincinnati and they take a second round offensive lineman at the top of round 2, where it's a very deep tight end or a very deep offensive line class, that doesn't mean I'm thinking just with, my fantasy football mind and hat on. Like I understand the implications of taking Jamar Chase and passing on Sewell. When you could get potentially, I mean, he might not even fall, but potentially a Marshall and Sewell versus a Jamar Chase and Leatherwood, or Jamar Chase and Mayfield, or Jamar Chase and Cosme. There are a ton of really good offensive linemen that I think you can coach up to a close to a Sewell level more than you can coach up any wide receiver or any other piece that you have to a Jamar Chase. So we could have this argument all day long. It's the smart move. It doesn't mean I'm fantasy skewed. I see Burrow having a better chance of being healthy with an improved, opened up offense that gets a second round offensive lineman in a very deep offensive line pool than I do going with Sewell. And I firmly believe that. I think the Steelers would be smart to get offensive line in round 1, because I like Javonte Williams as much as I like Najee Harris, if not more. I like Javonte Williams a little more than Najee Harris. So if you can get Najee or Williams, and those guys are like dead even to me, unlike Jamar Chase and Marshall, those aren't even close to me. It's a different argument. Then going offensive line in round 1 makes sense for the Steelers to do that if they can land, Javonte Williams. If they can't, then maybe you don't do it. But you could take Sermon. I don't know how I feel about him. He does, he looked good. He looked good in a lot of spots, but I don't know how I feel about him being an elite talent at the NFL level. For sure, taking over the starting reins in Pittsburgh for many years, multiple years to come. I don't know how I feel about that. Is he just another Benny Snell? Maybe. I think there's upside. I'm not saying no. I'm not closing the door on the opportunity that he could have in Pittsburgh, but I'm not ecstatic about it. I'm not like he's going to thrive. I picture him in Pittsburgh, though. I feel like Pittsburgh could definitely draft him. Thank God, no Mac Jones for the Niners. Yeah, I don't think Mac Jones is going to the Niners, bro. I hope my Lions draft Devonta Smith and throw him the ball 200 times this year. I don't want. I mean, he would do well wherever, And Goff, as bad as Goff feels, he's not horrible. But the problem you have is, will Goff look like the same not horrible Goff in Detroit? Because Stafford looked okay. He looked great at times, but okay in Detroit. But he's much better than that. So you got to ask the question. Everyone's going to say, well, Goff's not half bad, Smitty. That's not the worst situation, because I say Detroit's like my nightmare landing spot for Devonta. He'll do well wherever he goes, but Devonta Smith he'll be hindered by that changed in lack of rapport going on in Detroit because Goff just got there and the offense has been dismantled. Galladay's gone. Yeah, you shove Devonta Smith in there, but I think that Detroit offense is going to struggle to jive together, and I don't think you'll see the same Goff from the Rams come right over and play right at that level. And you're like, oh, he's not that bad. I don't like it, bro. I hate to say it, and it sounds like you're a big Lions fan, so I hate to come down hard on the Lions, but I don't want Devonta Smith there. I'd rather have him. I don't know how I feel about Philly as an organization right now because they keep putting themselves in bad spots. They draft the wrong players. I don't know how I feel about the Eagles from an organizational standpoint, but I think that with Jalen Hurts, with the potential opportunity for a wide receiver one there with a pretty good overall offense, I kind of like Devonta Smith more there. I love Devonta Smith in a Chargers uniform catching footballs from Justin Herbert. That is the number one spot where I want a player falling in 2021 is freaking in a Chargers situation. Devonta Smith catching footballs from Justin Herbert. They're going to do a pressure washing right right when I'm doing my live. We're gonna do a pressure wash right when he starts his live stream. That sucks. Talk about bad luck. Talk about bad luck. Jalen Waddle to Miami. I suppose is possible, bro. Is that too loud, or can you still hear me pretty good? I think my earphones probably cancel some of that out. Jalen Waddle. I don't know where I want Jalen Waddle to go. To be honest, um, everywhere I go, they're coming at me. They're trying to pressure wash my ass out of here. Um, I don't. I picture Jalen Waddle in Detroit. That might be the bug man, actually. I picture Jalen Waddle in freaking. Yeah, it's a bug man. I was wrong. It looks like a big pressure washing machine, but it's actually I think the bug man. I think Devonta Smith of the Patriots. Watch your mouth, Ryan. Watch your mouth. Do not will that to happen, bro. I do not want Devonta Smith heading to a New England Patriot uniform. Look what they did to freaking N'Keal Harry. You think I want that? You think I want Najee Harris to vanish into the dark night? I'm gonna have to walk way away from where I am. Um, how many offensive players will go in the first 10 picks? So you got 5 quarterbacks. You have Kyle Pitts at 6. You have 2 wide receivers in the first two. You said 10, probably. So 5 quarterbacks, maybe 4. It may be 4. We're gonna kind of work this out. 5 quarterbacks, 1 tight end, 6, 2 wide receivers, 7, 8. Sewell, and then another player. So probably two players could go that are not offensive skill position players. Yeah, I thought it was pressure washing, but it looked like pest control. Julio to the Jets. I don't think Julio's getting traded, man. I don't think a team views Julio Jones like everyone's projecting them to view him right now at the ripe age of 32 years old. You usually fall off and decline entering your 32 to 33 age season. A guy with foot injuries, foot concerns, inability to stay healthy, I think go forward. Who wants that? Who's going to trade big draft capital for that? Maybe the Jets, maybe, but I don't think so, man. I don't know. How far could Sewell fall? Probably like 7 or 8 overall at the very latest, probably. I think. Julio got that one. Devonta Smith got that one. Bro, Sidewalk doesn't mean Washington got that one. Jalen Waddle to Miami, I got that one. Do you think Pitts will be the first non-QB taken? It's looking like that's going to be the case unless Atlanta trades out. Bengals need to take an O lineman. They certainly do. We agree, Ryan. It just needs to happen in round 2. I hope my Lions draft Devonta Smith. I read that one. I think I'm caught up. Hit me with another question. Starting fresh. Breathing in the pest control. I might have to. I might have to move my car. Actually, I'll just stay away from the pest control. Man, my knee's killing me. What's your favorite fantasy football format? PPR, one QB. I don't really care if it's like 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex and a tight end, or 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a flex, and a tight end. But I'd say somewhere around that. I like super flex, but it's not my favorite. I like it, but I like one QB leagues better. But I play at all kinds of super flex. I'm not huge on IDP. I play IDP, but I just don't cover it the same way. And could that change? Yeah, it could, but I just don't love IDP the same way. Who's ready for Justin Fields to be the GOAT? Austin, I don't think they'll be the GOAT, bro. But whoever lands in San Fran is going to look pretty darn good no matter what. So, where do you rank Godwin in Dynasty? Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are both top 20 PPR wide receivers, question mark. They could be, man. I mean, Stafford's pretty good, but you also got to have like rapport between all those pieces. Maybe it doesn't jive right away. Maybe it's not going to be like butterflies and buttercups all the time right away out the gate. No hiccups. No needing to learn each other. Like look at Brady and how long it took for them to jive together, and that was the GOAT. Where do you rank Godwin in Dynasty? Godwin's the curious case of Chris Godwin. I don't know, man. Like that's a question right there. That's a question I don't know the answer to. And I could give you a rough like guesstimation of what I think how this plays out. I like Godwin a lot. I fear that he is a lot like Odell Beckham Jr. Elite talent. Will we ever see him develop and turn into the player we believe he could be talent wise? Injuries get in the way. All kinds of different things get in the way. I don't know that I love Godwin. I don't know that I love Godwin. I love his talent, but I don't know that his situation screams like amazing. You know what I mean? Because they spread the ball around. Brady's going to slowly throw for less and less um, production. It's going to be it's tough, man. It's tough to predict what's going to happen there. I think Evans is protected into some TD production more so than Godwin. I think Tom Brady loves Evans. And I think that if one is going to survive and the other is not going to thrive to the degree we all hope he could and know he could, it's probably going to be Mike Evans that surpasses Godwin. I like Godwin as like you buy him low, someone's giving him away at a really cheap value, draft picks or something. I'm not talking about high draft picks, but you could find a crafty way to get Godwin. Maybe you trade a wide receiver you don't like, and you give up like a second rounder rookie pick, and you get Godwin. Like I like attaining Godwin that way. There's upside. There is potential that he can regain that wide receiver one type of production, but I fear that we're looking at a little bit of Odell Beckham Jr. where it doesn't all translate, man. The talent's there, but I don't know. I know you love Herbert, but are you worried he's going to be uh, he's not going to be as good as a dual threat QB? We mean because he's not running like Lamar? Is that what you mean? I'm not worried at all about Herbert. Herbert can ball. Herbert's like A-Rod. A-Rod's in the top 1 to 5 because he throws it a ton. He doesn't need to run. Dual threats are good. Dual threats keep you relevant. Dual threats keep you in the 4 to 8 mix, but I don't know that you have to be a dual threat to make it at number 1, And if you run, risk of injury goes up. It's not always a great thing to be Lamar Jackson because Lamar I'm kind of staying away from Lamar in 2021 because we've seen him falter, we've seen him fail. Red flag one. What do I always tell you? When there are multiple red flags, drop back, take the player at the right ADP, but drop back and take safer players until that player reemerges on your rankings and feels about right. To me, I don't like spending a mid third round pick on Lamar Jackson, which is where you often have to take him when you have red flag number one. He looked like he got kind of figured out, is what a lot of people like to word. I don't know that I would word it that way. I would say he struggled. He struggled pretty bad. So bad that I got at my heysmitty.com emails and questions and texts and everything on a weekly basis for half of a year, not 1 or 2 weeks, half of a year. Hey, Smitty, should I bench Lamar? Hey, Smitty, I got to get rid of Lamar. Hey, Smitty, Lamar's killing me. I got to make a move. I got to trade him away. I got to bench him. Do I start player blah? Do I start player blah? You know, Herbert was coming into his own. Do I bench Lamar and start Herbert? And early on in the year, it was like, no. And then Herbert started playing better and better. And then you're like, yeah, put Herbert in there over Lamar, who you drafted at 2.11 or 3.02. Running quarterbacks aren't always the locked in top five. Like everybody says, if you're not a running quarterback, you're not relevant. I disagree. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Look at Herbert. Look at what Trevor Lawrence will run a little bit, but Trevor Lawrence is going to be an air it out guy, and he will be a top 5 fantasy QB in time. Maybe not right away. Terrence Marshall to the Ravens, please, says Matt. Marshall's pretty good. I'm in a bit of a situation in my Dynasty League. I kind of traded all my picks in depth away. My team is Josh Allen, Saquon, Chubb, Diggs. My flex is Zeke. Flex don't have one. No depth. You're not going to be able to sell high on MT. You got to kind of hang it out. You got to hang with MT, Zeke. You could sell Chubb high, but what are you going to get? I don't mind the idea. I like the idea of maybe selling Chubb. Go to the Clyde Edwards-Helaire owner, see what they have. Go to the Gibson owner, see what they have. And better yet, go to the James Robinson owner, see what they have. See if you can somehow steal away a DJ Moore or, maybe like, I don't know if Jerry Jeudy would be enough, but see if you could go ahead and steal away, wide receiver in conjunction with that trade down. So you're trading Chubb down. I got a call there. You're trading Chubb down into a downgrade into a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and in that you're going to get this wide receiver upgrade. I don't know if Jerry Jeudy would be enough, but that's the kind of thinking that I start the process I start going through is what wide receiver could be that guy no one sees coming, and all of a sudden you have this downgraded running back that maybe not, it doesn't even play downgraded, maybe Montgomery, maybe, who do you like that could give Chubb a run for his money that's ranked in the 3rd and 4th round? Gibson in the 3rd round, top of the 3rd. James Robinson falls to the 3rd round a lot of times, especially in Dynasty. I'm very comfortable trading Chubb into James Robinson, getting yourself a wide receiver. Rodgers is dead to me for this next season. Too many rushing TDs to Aaron Jones. How is A-Rod dead to you? Like, he had a phenomenal year. Like, Charles, I'm okay with predicting maybe a decline or something, but like that comment's like almost as if, he did something wrong last year and he didn't. You know what I mean? Like, he's dead to you. Bro, a little harsh. Like, A-Rod brought it last year, man. Like, you're bold by saying that he won't do well this year, I think. So that dead to you, man. Trust your gut, though, bro. Trust your gut. Who would you rather have, Amari Cooper or Godwin? Cooper. I've been critical of Cooper, and I'd rather have Cooper. He won MVP, says Tommy. I that's what I'm saying. Dead to me. Like, that's a prediction, and I respect it. Like, more rushing touchdowns to Aaron Jones. I get it. But keep in mind, the reason Aaron Jones had such a good year, the 19 or whatever TDs in 2019, is because Adams got hurt. They had to makeshift this offense. They didn't draft any wide receivers. They had nobody. They had to run the ball a ton, feed Aaron Jones the football, change the offense and how they deploy it all. And then the next year, 2020, Adams comes in healthy, and then boom, they're back to slinging the rock. I don't know that they just shift right over to taking away Aaron Rodgers' touchdown opportunities, like with no, rhyme or reason or warning, bro. That's me. That's me, bro. Tom Brady is the GOAT. You're not wrong, Ryan. Terrence Marshall to the Ravens. I got that one. How do I feel about Jalen Hurts? And then Matt said QB Broncos going to get how much will that boost your duty? I think Lance could go to. I see Lance in Denver. If he doesn't go to San Fran, I predict San Fran to take him. But I can also see if that doesn't work out, I see him in Denver. Thoughts on Mims? I like Mims a lot. I think Zach Wilson makes him into a pretty big time guy. We'll see if he can develop into a wide receiver one for his team first, and then go from there. But I think Mims has a lot of talent. Jalen Hurts, I think, could be 6 to 10, but I do truly believe that the Eagles are I'm on the fence about whether they're going to screw this up and completely bury the opportunity that Jalen Hurts is looking at right now, because they bring in a guy in Nick, what's his name, Sirianni or whatever the hell his name is, who I don't know has a better handle on this thing than Doug Peterson, who they fired because he botched the entire situation with quarterback to, benching Hurts in week, whatever it was, 15 or 4, whatever week it was. Botched it. Didn't have faith in his guy. Then they bring in this Nick Sirianni, whatever the hell his name is. And the dude comes out and says, I'm not committing to Jalen Hurts. Like, what is your problem? Like, what do you expect this guy to do? You're killing his confidence. He showed a lot of promise, and you got rid of Wentz because of him, and now you're not going to commit to him. It makes me have zero faith in the Eagles organization. Laviska Shenault or DJ Chark in Dynasty. If I had to pick, I would say Chark. We've seen what Chark can do. We're hopeful what Shenault can do. Both of them could be very good. I do believe that Lawrence makes one of them into a really good player, but Chark was a wide receiver one to a lot of people, not a small portion of experts out there. He was like the tail end, like number 12 or number 11. Out of all wide receivers walking into early 2020 mock drafts and stuff, Chark was climbing high. People forget how highly ranked we had DJ Chark, and disappointment can guide you in the wrong direction if you're not objectively looking at it. DJ Chark has a real opportunity, not that Shenault doesn't, but I love Chark. I love Chark as my wide receiver 3 in every league I can kind of get him in, because I think it'll be a really low cost entry point and a very, very high upside guy. Akers or Taylor, bro. Tom, it's not even close to me, man. Like, Jonathan Taylor's top 5 or 6 overall potential. Akers has no business, in my opinion, in the first round. I don't know why people are drafting Akers in the first round. I understand there's upside. I get it. I saw the same thing everybody else saw. He was lethal in a couple of weeks there at the end of the year. But what happened? Why was he not used early on in the year? Why was he not used in the middle of the year? Why was he not used in the heading into the 3/4 of the season, end of the year? Why was he used in the final weeks but not used anywhere else? Why was he hurt? What was going on? I'll tell you what, the Rams screw up everything when it comes to the running back situation. I wouldn't put Akers near Jonathan Taylor at all. They are literally at least a round apart, a full round apart for me. And it's not to say you'll be wrong. It's not to say there's zero chance Akers could be a top 5 to 10 running back. I've admitted that over and over and over again. I put it at a low percentage. Low percentage things can still happen and unfold. It's all about playing the odds. The odds of Akers disappointing you inside the 8 to 12 overall range, it's overwhelming. Could it happen? Yes. I could get struck by lightning right now. It could happen. The odds are against it, especially with no weather. The odds of Akers doing well, getting struck by lightning, in my opinion, is him doing well feels like the lightning part, not him busting or doing bad. the chance of it busting doesn't feel. I look at it differently. I look at how much do I trust the Rams to not even draft a running back? Like, you could laugh at that and say they're not going to draft a running back. They like Akers because you like Akers. You know, Akers is a risk in the first round. He is a decent bet at 15, which I'm not going to obviously get him at. So I won't own Akers by design in 2021 because I'm not willing to take the risk. Jonathan Taylor's going in the 5 to 10 range. To be fair, Jonathan Taylor wasn't used at all. Frankly, sucked the first 8 weeks. You have an argument there, Matt. I'm not saying you don't. And I think Taylor is being overdrafted, but I feel like there's a lot more track record of why that happened. It was, in my opinion, more on Taylor learning, more on COVID taking away his ability to get involved in the PPR game and blocking and pass protection. Taylor struggling on the field and then getting going. So while you have a good point, you could draw some correlations between it. And I will admit that I feel like Taylor is getting kind of overdrafted, but the odds of Taylor being benched for another running back volume-wise is a lot lower, and I don't think even in the same ballpark as the odds of the Rams coaching staff saying, we're going to go ahead, like I can see it now, we're going to go ahead, or a reporter, is Cam Akers your starting running back, right? We're not going to make any determinations. We're going to let him go out there and compete for the job. I can see it right now because I saw it with Darrell Henderson. I saw it, and Darrell Henderson did really well for a string of games in 2021. There was a lot of people emailing me, you were right on Hendy all along because he was getting fed and he looked really good. And then one bad game, then they don't use him fully and they don't use Akers at all until the end of the year. Like, there's a lot of reason to be concerned about Akers. A lot of reason to be excited about him, but not at 8 to 12. I mean, Darrell Henderson got blasted. What do you think about Elijah Mitchell? I think he's okay. Hey, Smitty, how do you feel his potential impact on Atlanta from year one if he gets drafted there? Fields ain't starting in Atlanta. Matt Ryan's the starter. If Fields gets taken by Atlanta, if Atlanta takes any quarterback, it's the ownership that wants it because the head coach wants a piece he can use now. This coaching staff in there doesn't want a quarterback. They have a quarterback. They want to win now. Their jobs are on the line now. They're not worried about 2 or 3 years from now. They're worried about this year. If they do take a quarterback, it's forced by ownership, and they're not going to put Matt Ryan on the bench. Matt Ryan, there's a lot of money tied up in Matt Ryan. They may make it look like they want a quarterback more than they really do so that somebody comes up and trades for that number 4 pick. Think about it. It's a game. It's smokescreen. Atlanta doesn't really need a quarterback right now. They don't really want a quarterback right now. Atlanta's probably not taking a quarterback. But when you're sitting in the 4 pick, quarterbacks are the commodity. Quarterbacks are why someone would trade up like Denver. You're going to act like you want a quarterback. That's what you're going to do. You're playing a game. Baseball player. I don't watch baseball, bro. I don't have time for that shit. I don't watch baseball. I'm just curious. I have no idea, Diggs. Let's go with a guy named Diggs. Ethan, good points. Thanks. Who would be your deep sleeper running back in this draft? Chuba Hubbard. And I appreciate you, Diggs. I wasn't going at you. I don't watch baseball. How do you feel about Fields? I got that one. Smitty, what do you think about Elijah? I got that one. Deshaun Watson to the Patriots. No, Deshaun Watson's not playing in 2021. Have you not been watching my content, Ryan? Jameis or Taysom better for Michael Thomas and Kamara? I don't think we know the answer to that. A lot of people might make you think that Taysom's bad for both. But think about it. Taysom Hill was plugged into an offense without knowing it. He was plugged in as a quarterback without being trained to be the quarterback. He had to learn the system. He wasn't prepared at all. So when he goes in, Taysom Hill's under center, they're makeshifting the offense so that he can wait, why isn't Deshaun Watson playing 2021? Diggs, have you not been watching any of my content? He's probably not going to play because he's in the middle of a legal battle. And Deshaun Watson's looking at some serious, he potentially has got a criminal investigation open on him. He's got the civil matters. He's got 22 people suing him in civil court. Diggs. Is Diggs trolling? Okay. Zeke or Henry. I know this won't be popular, but I'm leaning Zeke, man. This 2,000 yard thing is a curse. What was I talking about? Taysom Hill, Mike Thomas. So Taysom Hill getting a full offseason to prep, and Taysom Hill said it himself. He said it himself. He said, I am, what did he say? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. He said, this is the first offseason. Last offseason I prepared as a wide receiver, running back, tight end. But he then said also that he's coming into 2021 this offseason preparing as a starting quarterback. So it's going to be a very different thing. He's going to have a good grasp on the offense. Sorry, Mr. Diggs. Should have taken your brother Stephon instead. All right, what else we got? What else do we got, people? What do we got, party people? Hit me with a question. Hit me with a question. What's up, Willie? What's up, Willie? Maybe Deshaun plays I mean, he could. The one way Deshaun could play in 2021 is if the criminal investigation gets closed and they say there's not enough evidence. That would bode well for Deshaun Watson. He'd start heading down the right path of things are going well for him. Then at that point, if the criminal investigation gets closed and there's not enough evidence, then the civil cases would then be agreed upon and closed. And if that happened, all 22 people though would have to their individual cases. All 22 people would have to agree and settle, and so they settle for a monetary value. And then at that point, after they settle for a monetary value, there would be a written statement in there saying that Deshaun Watson did nothing wrong, and then the league wouldn't really be able to do too much because they could still do something. They could still say, you put us in this situation, you put us in a bad spot. So they would probably suspend him, I'd say bare minimum 6 to 8 games for putting the league in this situation, for going to Instagram, for all these different weird things, for admitting that he did all these weird things consensually, though, but putting himself in that situation, there would be a likelihood of a 6 to 8 game suspension. That would be if all 22 cases settled and there was a written statement by all the people saying he did nothing wrong. That's how I see Deshaun Watson playing games in 2021. But it would probably be some sort of a suspension, but maybe not. You never know. How do you feel about Waddle being compared to Tyreek Hill? I mean, never say never. I feel like Waddle could grow on me, but I also feel like he could be a little more not totally Waddle or not totally Ruggs. I think Ruggs could potentially bust completely. I think Waddle could be more Ruggs than he is elite, but I could be, I'm keeping kind of an open mind for Waddle because his landing spot could change my mind. Situation is king, man. Favorite stack going on. I like A-Rod. I like A-Rod and Adams. I like Mahomes and Hill, Diggs, and Josh Allen. You can't get much better than any of those situations. I mean, there's a couple more, but I mean, those stacks are sick, man. I can't take him in the third round. He just gets injured too much. I heard what you said about Julio, but I can't take him in the third round. Who said about taking Julio in the third round, bro? Don't even go near him. If the Bengals go with Chase, is he more valuable than Higgins right from the start? Not necessarily, but I would think by the end of the year, I would think that Chase would be actually outplaying Higgins. But I like both of them. I like Burrow. It's gonna be awesome. Am I gonna do the all KC thing? No, I tried it, didn't work. Now, granted, you could do like a half KC thing and still get like James Robinson, someone like that. But I did the full KC, every single player but Love Bell because he was traded for midseason or at the end of the year, and I couldn't get him because I already had all KC players, so I couldn't make that trade. But it did not. It did not work. Let's see here. What's up, Adam? Burrow might not start this season. I don't, he's going to be cutting it closer than I originally heard, but I think he will. I think he will be fine. NFL draft. So join me live for the NFL draft. It'll be fun. It'll be lit. It'll be a good time. And man, it's going to be a fun 2020 21 season. 2021 should be a lot better than 2020. I don't think we're going to have a lot of COVID stuff pop up. Have you done punishments in your fantasy leagues? If so, what was the worst you've seen or done? I don't do a whole lot of punishments in my league. I do a lot of challenges with other fantasy pages where the loser's got to put up a story post up saying that I got beat, whatever, something like that. Okay, what else we got? Eating at a restaurant alone with a blow up doll. Wow, that's strange. Not sure if you have looked into this quarterback much, but what are your thoughts on Book? I don't know too much, to be honest, man. I don't know. I haven't looked that deep, bro. That's somebody that you're talking about that's outside of anybody's top 10. Curtis Samuel, what about him, bro? What about him, broski? What about him, broski? Have you seen Lamb compared to Ridley before he broke out? Eerily similar, bro. Lamb's already in my top 5. Lamb is top 5, baby. Get ready. What are the most ideal landing spots for Pitts fantasy wise? Probably Atlanta. Um, is what a lot of people are thinking. Probably, I don't know, bro. That's a tough one. I think so. Sorry, I was dealing with that. There probably of all the situations, I'd probably say the Chargers are the number one spot for both Devonta Smith because they're a possibility, and for Pitts, but they'd have to trade up. If you put if you put Kyle Pitts in a Chargers uniform, catching passes from Joe Burrow, I'm sorry, from Justin Herbert, that is the number one place for him to be. If you put him in Cincy at number 5 overall, Kyle Pitts, that's the second best place to be. You could put him in Dallas. You could say that's crowded there, but I still think he'd get a certain amount of target share from that position that he's in. He's not really worried about. I think Cooper takes the hit more than Kyle Pitts would take a hit. I think that's okay place to be. There are a lot of good places for him to be. How long have you been doing fantasy football? What got you into it? I've been doing fantasy football since 1992, and I've been doing it professionally for 19 years. What got me into it? A couple buddies said, "Hey, let's play fantasy football." I'm like, "What the hell is that?" We drafted off of Tech Mobile and did a bunch of stuff in like January and February and simulated seasons on Tecmo Bowl. Then I did my first fantasy draft in like July or August of 1992, I think, and I took Troy Aikman number 1 overall. Everybody laughed at me, and I thought, man, I better start learning how to play this game because Troy Aikman's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I hear because I'm not even a big NFL fan at that point at all. I'm a kid, and it just so happens that I learned a tough lesson that Troy Aikman may have been a really good quarterback, but he sucked in fantasy, and I took him number 1 overall. This is when Jim Kelly was a quarterback. This is like Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen days. So yeah, I've been doing it since 1992, newspaper style, baby. You get to the library at school, you break out the newspaper box score, and you calculate that shit up, and you go, who won on Monday? You don't even know. You have to, and then you know if Monday Night Football is going to play a role or not. But you do everything in the library with the newspaper, bro. That's how long it was. Clyde Edwards-Helaire overrated. We'll see. We'll see. How overrated can you be when you're sitting in end of round 3, some cases round 4, broski? How overrated can you really be? How overrated can you be? Justin says Smitty's a Niner fan at heart. I love the Niners, man, because I do have a lot of ties to Niner people that are good friends of mine. Do a lot of Niner lives. I've gotten to know the Niners organization from an analyst and fantasy analyzing perspective. So I have respect for the Niners. I don't claim to be a Niner fan because I think that's disrespectful to be like, oh, now I'm a Niner fan. I'm not. I'm a Cardinal fan at heart. I'm a Buffalo Bill guy, probably second, and then past that, it's all fantasy for me. Family's from Buffalo. My other half of my family's from Indianapolis, and Phoenix. So, those are kind of the places that I gravitate toward. But Arizona, this is where I live. I'm a Cardinal fan at heart, but I'm a fantasy football analyst first. It's always going to be fantasy football first, not my home team. Yeah, dude, with the newspapers, bro. Newspaper. Alrighty, people, join me. I'm live. I'm live during the draft, about a half hour to an hour before the NFL draft begins. So we're talking about 8 p.m. Eastern. So join me 7 p.m. Eastern on the fantasyfootballshow.com, which is my YouTube channel. That'll bring you right to my YouTube page. So thefantasyfootballshow.com, right about 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll be live during the entire first round, breaking it down with my quad box gang, the Niner people that I talk about, and we'll be breaking down every pick. Join me. Don't miss it. Tell your friends. Tell everybody. Let's go.